If you've seen my main channel, you may have picked up on the fact that I like stats.
Stats are amazing.
I'm a bit of a nerd.
He's not joking, Diane.
What the?
Today I thought I'd take the world on a deep dive into the analytics from my main channel, because I'm sure there'll be at least one other person out there interested.
If you're lucky.
While the channel itself is pretty old, I had to do a bit of work deleting stuff before I was accepted into the YouTube Partner Program. So for the purposes of this video, we'll be looking at data from the 1st of January 2022 until the 30th of September 2022. Or in other words, 273 days. So let's crack on. The channel has received 1,089,447 views.
That seems like a lot.
You're making a bigger deal out of this than it is.
The most popular video released this year so far is the first edition of Skomokio. The least popular video released this year so far?
I'm breathless with anticipation.
It's the press conference where the Victorian government put industry and politics before public health. One thing I have learned this year is that criticising the Victorian government, or the ALP in general, is a surefire way to have a video tank. The channel has seen 82,673 hours of watch time. Putting that another way, that's 3,445 days. Or almost 9.5 years. The channel itself has over 22,500 subscribers. It's not a lot for the big boy YouTubers, but I still find it pretty incredible. It's roughly 1.5 times the amount of people that'll fit into the Rod Laver arena. In the 273 days so far this year, the channel has gained 11,480 subscribers and lost 2,083. Skomokio, the first edition, was also the video to bring in the most new subs, with 1,268 new subscribers coming from that video alone. On the downside, the video that saw the largest number of people unsubscribe was the video that I posted, looking at the pandemic statistics that had been receiving almost zero media coverage at the time. It's probably not a surprise then that 4 of the top 5 videos that led to the most unsubscribes were pandemic related. Based on comments around that time, it seemed like somehow I'd built up quite a few anti-vaxxer subscribers somehow.
Activating shrug mode.
Not really sure where they came from.
Cooked.
My video thumbnails have had 10,513,018 impressions. An impression being how many times the thumbnail was shown to prospective viewers. My thumbnails have had an average click-through rate of 6.75%. Now the video from this year with the highest click-through rate was a Scott Morrison special. Scott Morrison in his own words.
Why is that though?
You want honesty? It's garbage.
Herd sandwich.
Worth a look. The thumbnail with the lowest click-through rate, again it was the first edition of the Skomokio video. I'm only guessing here, but it might have something to do with his nose taking on the appearance of a phallus. The video released this year with the highest like to dislike ratio of 99.93% is currently A Tale of Two Stories. One thing I do know is that slagging off the mainstream media is always popular. The video with the worst ratio released this year, it was a little thing I did about masks in Victoria. Again, that's no real surprise given that anything COVID related or critical of the ALP doesn't go over that well. Over 70% of traffic to the channel has come from the browse feature. So like most other channels, I guess I live or die by the old algorithm. What I find interesting is that only 2.6% of the traffic comes from a YouTube search. Of the 4.6% of traffic that comes from an external source, Facebook is way out in front, with Twitter a distant second. That's interesting because I'll often post my videos on Twitter, but I've never done a great deal on Facebook. Now this stat really shocked me. According to YouTube at least, the vast majority of my viewers are male. Honestly didn't expect it to be that heavily skewed. Overall, growth to the channel recently has kind of plateaued. I've decided to give TubeBuddy a shot on this channel just to see how it works and whether or not it's worthwhile. There's a link in the description, but I might do a video on that one day. I mean, deep down I'm no different than anyone else that starts a YouTube channel. The end goal is obviously a Manscaped endorsement. Still, I've got a fair bit of work ahead of me before I reach those heights.